Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a comfortable position, wherever you are. Let your eyes soften, and let the weight of your body be fully supported. There is nowhere you need to go right now, nothing you need to fix. Just be here, with the sound of this voice, as we explore a quietness that lives beneath the noise, a stillness that has been waiting within you, untouched by all the comings and goings of your life. There is a simple but profound truth that Buddhism points to, not as a theory, but as a direct experience you can have in this very moment. Peace is not a destination you arrive at after all your problems are solved. It is not a reward for good behavior or a prize for achievement. It is the fundamental nature of a mind that is no longer at war with what is. It is the clear sky behind the clouds, the deep ocean floor beneath the waves. And the journey to realizing this is not about adding anything new to yourself. It is about unlearning, about letting go of the habits of thought that create all the disturbance. Let me begin with a story from my own life, a simple moment that changed everything for me. I was living for a time in a small cabin near a forest. One autumn, a particularly fierce storm blew through. The wind howled, branches snapped, and rain lashed the windows. I felt a deep, primal anxiety. I checked the locks, paced the floor, and my mind raced with worries about damage, fallen trees, leaks. After hours of this inner turmoil, exhausted, I finally sat down in a chair by the window. I stopped fighting the noise. I just listened. I heard the wind, not as an enemy, but as a powerful force. I saw the trees bending, not breaking. And in the middle of that fury, I noticed something, a deep, unwavering stillness inside me. The storm was happening, but the awareness watching the storm was calm. It was not indifferent. It was fully present, yet utterly undisturbed. The storm, I realized, was outside. The war was inside, and I had just called for a ceasefire. That was the moment I understood that peace is not the absence of the storm. It is the presence of a stillness that can coexist with any weather. This understanding is a gift Buddhism offers. It teaches that our suffering is not caused by the storms of life, but by our resistance to them. We believe if we just fight hard enough, control enough, we can create a permanent sunny day. But life is weather. It changes. Peace is found in becoming the steady, spacious awareness that can hold all of it, the sun, the rain, the gales, and the calm, without losing its nature. If this way of seeing brings you a sense of relief, a quiet yes, then consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. By subscribing, you plant a flag for your own inner peace. You create a reminder to return to this sanctuary, and you help this community of quiet understanding grow, allowing these reflections to reach others who are seeking the same stillness. Now, let's explore this from another angle. We often live as if we are the central character in a story where everyone else is a supporting actor, or worse, an obstacle. We think, if only that person would change, then I could be happy. We spend immense energy trying to manage others' opinions, reactions, and behaviors. It is an exhausting project, destined for frustration, because every person is the center of their own universe, acting from their own history, pain, and conditioning. I remember a man I met at a quiet library. He would come every day, always choosing the same chair. And every day, without fail, someone else would eventually sit in a nearby chair and make a small noise, a cough, a page rustle, a pen click. I watched his body tense, his jaw clench. He would glare, sigh loudly, sometimes even pack his things and leave in a huff. He was a man at war with the sound of life itself. He believed his peace depended on the world being silent. But the world, like the forest in a storm, is alive with sound. His attempt to control it was the very source of his disturbance. His peace was always one silent person away, and therefore, always out of reach. Buddhism guides us toward a different power. The power of inner silence. This is not the absence of sound, but the quality of awareness that is not shaken by sound. Inner silence is the space between a provoking event and your reaction. In that space, you find your freedom. When someone speaks harshly, inner silence allows you to hear the words without immediately becoming the target. You can see the anger as their storm, not yours. You can respond, or not respond, from a place of choice, not automatic defense. Cultivating this silence is not about becoming passive. It is about becoming so strong in your own presence that you no longer need the external world to arrange itself for you to feel safe. You are like a deep lake. Surface waves may be stirred by the wind, but the depths remain calm, still, and clear. This connects to one of the most subtle and powerful insights: you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that knows the thoughts. For most of our lives, we are like a person watching a movie and believing they are the character on the screen. We get swept up in the drama, the fear, the joy, the tragedy. We forget we are the ones sitting in the theater, the conscious presence witnessing the play of light and shadow. Your mind produces thoughts like a garden produces weeds and flowers, constantly, and somewhat randomly based on the seeds, your past experiences, and the weather, your current environment. A thought arises. I'm not good enough. If you believe it, if you identify with it, it becomes a seed of suffering. You feel anxious, depressed, defensive. But if you see it as just a thought, a passing cloud in the sky of your awareness, it floats through without creating a storm. You can say, there is the not good enough thought again. You don't have to argue with it, believe it, or follow it. You simply acknowledge its presence and return to the felt experience of the present moment. Your breath, the sensations in your hands, the sounds around you. In that return, you are no longer the character in the painful movie. You are the aware presence in the theater, and the movie loses its power to enslave you. I learned this while watching a flock of birds one evening. They would rise from a tree in a chaotic cloud, swirl in a beautiful, intricate pattern against the sunset, and then settle back into the branches. A thought arose, that's so disorganized. Another thought. No, it's perfectly organized. Then worry, I should be doing something more productive than this. Then peace, this is exactly where I need to be. Thoughts, one after another, like birds taking flight. For a moment, I got caught in the thought story about productivity. Then I remembered, I am not the flock of thoughts. I am the sky they are flying in. The sky doesn't control the birds, it allows their flight. And the sky is never damaged by their movement. This is the practice of mindfulness, gently being the sky, not the birds. From this place of being the aware sky, we can look at one of the heaviest burdens we carry, the burden of a fixed self. We construct an identity from our memories, our achievements, our failures, what others have said about us. This me feels solid, real, and in need of constant defense. We think, I am a successful person, and then live in fear of failure. I am a kind person, and then feel resentment when others aren't kind in return. I am a victim, and then see injustice everywhere. This identity is a costume we've worn so long we've forgotten it's not our skin. Buddhist wisdom invites us to question this solid I. Look closely. Are you the same person you were at 10 years old? Are your opinions, tastes, and fears identical? You are a river, constantly flowing, changing, moment to moment. The you that started reading this is not exactly the you reading this now. Clinging to a fixed self is like a river trying to hold on to a particular wave. It creates tension and conflict, because life is change, and the costume is rigid. When you loosen the grip on this costume, something beautiful happens. You stop taking everything so personally. Criticism is no longer an attack on your core being, it's just words, information you can evaluate. A setback is no longer a definition of your worth, it's an event. You become flexible, adaptable, and far more peaceful. You can allow yourself to be wrong, to learn, to grow. You can allow others to have their opinions without feeling your entire world threatened. This is not losing yourself, it's finding your true, fluid, and peaceful nature beneath the rigid costume. Let me share a story about a tapestry. In a monastery I visited, there was an ancient, worn tapestry on the wall. From the front, it depicted a serene Buddha. But the monk invited me to look at the back. It was a mess of tangled threads, knots, loose ends, and confusing patterns. It was chaotic, ugly, senseless. This, he said softly, is the mind's view of life, the close-up of knots and tangles, the struggle, the confusion. It feels messy and wrong. Then he walked me back to the front. And this is awareness's view. The same threads, the same events, but seen from a place of wholeness, of perspective. It forms a coherent, beautiful picture. Your job is not to untangle every knot on the back. Your job is to learn to shift your perspective to the front. Most of our suffering is from staring at the back of the tapestry, obsessed with individual knots, believing the mess is all there is. Peace arises when we remember we can walk around to the front. This shift in perspective is the essence of the path. It is a gentle, continuous returning from the tangled, knotty world of obsessive thought to the clear, spacious world of present moment awareness. It is not a single achievement but a moment-to-moment choice. And each time you make that choice, to feel your breath instead of following a worry, to listen to a sound instead of judging it, to feel an emotion in your body instead of building a story around it, you strengthen the peace that is your birthright. Let's continue. Imagine you are standing on the shore of a vast ocean. You watch the waves, some small and gentle, others large and crashing. You feel the pull of the tide, the constancy of the rhythm. Now, imagine you are afraid of the water. Every time a wave approaches, you tense. You run back up the beach. You build a wall of sand, only to watch it be washed away. Your entire experience is one of fear, resistance, and exhaustion. Now, imagine something shifts. You stop running. You sit down right where the water meets the sand. You let the small waves wash over your feet. You feel the coolness, the push and the pull. You are still in the ocean's presence, but you are no longer at war with it. You have accepted its nature. This, Buddhism teaches, is the shift from resistance to acceptance. And it is in this shift that a deep, unshakable peace begins to grow. We spend so much of our lives running from waves or building walls. The waves are our unwanted experiences. Difficult emotions, challenging circumstances, loss, uncertainty. Our instinct is to fight, to deny, to wish fervently that the wave was not here. This mental argument with reality is the very engine of our suffering. The event itself may last a minute, but our resistance to it can last a lifetime. It's like swallowing poison and hoping the other person will get sick. I once knew a musician, a brilliant cellist. He had a cherished cello, an instrument with a voice he loved. One day, through a simple accident, the cello was damaged. A crack appeared in its body. He was devastated. For weeks, he could not play. He would just sit and stare at the crack, his mind a torrent of, if only. If only I had put it somewhere else. If only I had checked the stand. This shouldn't have happened. His sorrow was natural, but his suffering was compounded 100-fold by his refusal to accept the new reality of the cracked cello. He was arguing with a fact. Then, on the advice of a luthier, a repairer of instruments, he began to play it again, crack and all. The sound was different. Not worse, not ruined, but different. It had a new depth, a faint whisper of vulnerability in its tone that it never had before. In time, he came to love this new voice even more. He told me, the crack didn't break my cello. It broke my idea of what my cello should be. And in that breaking, something more true was revealed. His peace returned not when the crack disappeared, but when his resistance to it did. This is a core tenet of the Buddhist teaching. Pain in life is inevitable. Physical pain, emotional pain, the pain of loss. This is the first noble truth. Suffering, however, is what we add to the pain. Suffering is our non-acceptance, our resentment, our tight-fisted clinging to how it should have been. The end of suffering comes not from eliminating all pain, but from changing our relationship to it. It comes from the courageous, gentle act of saying to this present moment, I see you. You are here. This is acceptance. It is the willingness to feel the cool wave wash over your feet without needing the ocean to be different. This understanding naturally leads us to another great source of turbulence, our attachment to outcomes. We tie our inner peace to a specific result. I will be happy when I get the job. I will be at peace when this person apologizes. I will feel secure when I have X amount of money. We hitch our well-being to a future event over which we have limited control. We then live in a state of suspenseful anxiety, waiting for life to deliver our happiness, and we are devastated when it doesn't. Think of it as planting a seed. You are responsible for the planting, preparing the soil, choosing the seed, watering it, giving it sunlight. That is your domain of action, your karma. But you cannot control the sprouting. You cannot command the stem to grow exactly 14 inches, or the flower to be a specific shade of blue. If you stand over the seed demanding, bloom now. Be pink, you will only make yourself frantic. The gardener's peace is in the tending, in the love of the process itself, not in the dictatorship of the outcome. Buddhism encourages us to become wise gardeners of our lives. Pour your heart into your actions. Do your best. Speak with kindness. Work with integrity. But then, release the demand for a specific result. Let the universe handle the blooming. This is not indifference, it is supreme intelligence. It is understanding that your worth is inherent in the tending, not in the harvest. When you loosen the grip on the outcome, you are free. Disappointment loses its sting because you never built your house on that single, shaky result. Your peace is rooted in the integrity of your effort, which is something you always control. I witnessed this in a potter's studio. A student was struggling, trying to force a lump of clay into a perfect, symmetrical vase. Her brow was furrowed, her hands tense. The more she forced, the more the clay wobbled and collapsed. The master potter walked over, placed his hands gently over hers, and said, "You cannot force the shape. You must have a conversation with the clay. You suggest a direction, and it responds. You listen, and you adjust. The final form is a collaboration between your intention and the nature of the clay itself." He helped her center the clay, not by muscle, but by balanced, patient pressure. As she relaxed her demand for a perfect vase, her hands became sensitive. She began to listen to the feedback from the clay. What emerged was not the perfect vase she had pictured, but something more beautiful, unique, alive, and truly hers. Her joy was not in achieving a preconceived image, but in the shared discovery of the form. Her peace was in the conversation, not the dictatorship. This is how we are invited to live. In conversation with life, not in a monologue of demands. When we release attachment to a rigid outcome, we open ourselves to possibilities we could never have planned. We find a peace that is creative, responsive, and resilient. Now, let's turn to one of the most liberating realizations. Everything that disturbs you is temporary. Every single thing. Every anxiety, every anger, every moment of shame, every pang of loneliness, every burst of joy, every period of comfort. They all arise, stay for a time, and pass away. They are guests in the house of your awareness, not permanent residents. Yet, when a painful guest arrives, we treat it like it has moved in forever. We panic. We think, "This is my life now." This belief in the permanence of our pain is what magnifies it 1,000-fold. Buddha called this anicca, impermanence. It is not a philosophical idea, it is the fundamental law of existence. Look at your own body. The cells that composed you 7 years ago are all gone. Your thoughts are different from an hour ago. The weather has changed since you started listening. Everything is in flux. Your emotional weather is no different. A storm of grief may feel eternal, but even the deepest valley of sorrow has an end. Knowing this doesn't take the pain away in the moment, but it places a frame of understanding around it. It allows you to say, "This is a storm. It is here now." Storms, by their nature, pass. This knowledge is a refuge. It prevents despair from taking root. I remember a long, cross-country train journey through a desert. For hours, the view was monotonous, flat, brown, unchanging. I felt a strange, creeping dread. What if it's like this forever? Then, imperceptibly at first, the land began to rise. Mesas appeared on the horizon. The light changed, casting long, dramatic shadows. The desert bloomed into a landscape of breathtaking grandeur. Had I believed the flatness was permanent, I would have been in agony. Because I knew the train was moving, I could tolerate the monotony, even find a stark beauty in it. Life is that train journey. The difficult periods are just stretches of track. Knowing you are moving, that change is the only constant, allows you to endure the flat places with patience and meet the majestic vistas with gratitude, but without clinging, knowing they too will change. This wisdom of impermanence also teaches us balance in good times. When happiness comes, we often cling to it, trying to freeze the moment, which immediately introduces the fear of losing it. We sip the sweet drink while worrying about the empty glass. Buddhism encourages us to enjoy the pleasant fully, but lightly, to drink the sweet water without clutching the glass. Taste it, savor it, be grateful for it, and when the glass is empty, set it down peacefully. This is emotional maturity. It allows us to dance in the joy without being devastated by the silence that follows. All of this, acceptance, non-attachment, understanding impermanence, requires us to do one thing above all. Return to the present moment. The present moment is the only place where life is actually happening. The past is a memory, a ghost. The future is a fantasy, a phantom. Both are thoughts occurring now. Yet, we abandon the alive, real, present moment to live in these mental ghost towns, and then we wonder why we feel so unsettled. Peace is always found in the now. Not in the then or the when. Right now, you are breathing. Right now, you are aware. Right now, there is space. Even if there is pain, in this exact, narrow slice of now, it is often more workable than the giant, terrifying story our mind builds around it. Your mind might be screaming about a problem tomorrow, but your body is here, breathing. Your feet are on the ground. The world has not ended in this present instant. This is your anchor. Imagine a pond after a heavy rain. The water is churned up, full of silt and debris. You cannot see the bottom. If you keep stirring it, it remains cloudy. But if you simply sit beside it and wait, a natural process begins. The silt starts to settle. The debris floats to the edges. Gradually, the water becomes clear. You can see the stones at the bottom, the life moving within it. Your mind is that pond. Your constant thinking, worrying, planning, and reacting is the stirring. Mindfulness. The simple, patient act of sitting with awareness, is the allowing of the silt to settle. You don't have to make the water clear. You just have to stop stirring it. The mind's natural state, when not agitated, is clarity and peace. I learned this not on a meditation cushion, but in a watchmaker's shop. The old watchmaker would perform the most delicate repairs. His hands were steady, his movements precise. I asked him the secret of such steadiness. He said, "It is not in the movement. It is in the pause. Before I make any adjustment, I stop. I breathe. I become still. I look not just at the gear, but at the space around it. In that stillness, I see what needs to be done. The action then comes from the stillness, not from rushing." His work was a dance between profound stillness and flawless, minimal action. Our lives can be the same. When we act from a place of inner stillness, our actions are more precise, more kind, more effective. They carry the quality of peace within them. This practice of non-doing is the antidote to a pervasive modern ailment, the feeling of never being enough, of never having done enough. We live under a self-imposed tyranny of productivity. Even our leisure is often scheduled and optimized. This creates a background hum of low-grade anxiety, a sense that we are perpetually behind. To stop and simply be feels illicit, lazy. But what if your fundamental worth is not in your output, but in your being? What if the universe did not create you to be a machine of accomplishment, but a vessel of consciousness, a point of awareness through which the world is known? In those moments of pure being, watching a sunset, feeling the warmth of a cup in your hands, listening to the rain, you are fulfilling your deepest purpose, to be awake, to be present. That is enough. More than enough. It is everything. From this place of enoughness, we can look at a subtle but powerful source of disturbance: comparison. The mind is a master comparer. It looks at others and measures their success, their happiness, their possessions, their apparent peace against our own. This habit is a poison to contentment. It creates an imaginary ladder we can never stop climbing, because there is always someone ahead. Or, it creates a pit of superiority, which is just as isolating and brittle. Comparison is the enemy of intimacy with your own life. It makes you a tourist in your own experience, always looking over the fence at the other tour bus, wondering if their guide is better. Buddhist wisdom severs the root of comparison by pointing to the truth of anatta, or non-self. If there is no fixed, solid me to compare to a fixed, solid you, then the whole game collapses. You are a unique, unfolding process. They are a unique, unfolding process. Comparing them is like comparing the song of a sparrow to the path of a river. Each is complete in its own expression of life. Your journey has its own terrain, its own weather, its own timing. When you fall into comparison, you have abandoned your own path to stare at someone else's map. Peace is found by turning your gaze back to your own next step, the feel of the earth under your own feet, the quality of light on your own personal horizon. I remember an old gardener who grew magnificent, prize-winning orchids. People would come for miles to see them and ask his secret. He would just smile and say, "I talk to them." People thought this was a charming metaphor. But one day, I saw him in his greenhouse. He wasn't speaking words. He was simply sitting, perfectly still, in front of a plant for long minutes, his attention fully on it. He was listening. He was noticing the subtle signs in the leaves, the stem, the air around it. His talking was this deep, receptive attention. He wasn't comparing this orchid to the one that won last year. He was fully with this one, in this moment. As a result, he knew exactly what it needed: a little more shade, a touch less water, not because of a rulebook, but because of relationship. When we give our own lives that kind of non-comparative, intimate attention, we too know what we truly need. We stop trying to force ourselves to be like someone else's orchid, and we allow our own unique bloom to unfold. This leads us to embrace a concept that can be frightening: emptiness. In the West, emptiness suggests a void, a lack, a loneliness. In the Buddhist sense, sunyata means something closer to openness or potential. It is like the empty space in a room. The space is not nothing, it is what allows the furniture to be placed, people to move, life to happen. It is the most essential element. Your mind, in its natural state, has this quality of empty awareness. It is not cluttered with permanent things. Thoughts and feelings arise within this space and pass away. When we fear emptiness, we rush to fill it, with noise, with entertainment, with busyness, with more thoughts. We are afraid of the silence, the space, because we mistake it for nothingness. But in truth, it is the fertile ground of everything. It is the screen. It is the sky. It is the silent witness. Making friends with this inner emptiness is a gateway to profound peace. It means you can be alone without being lonely. It means you can have quiet without feeling restless. It means you can face uncertainty without panic, because you are comfortable resting in the open space of not knowing. You begin to trust this space as your true home, more than you trust any temporary thought or feeling that passes through it. Think of a flute. It is just a hollow tube of wood. Its essence is its emptiness. Only because it is empty can it carry a breath and transform it into music. If it were stuffed full of cloth, no song could ever come from it. We spend so much of our lives stuffing ourselves full of opinions, identities, plans, possessions, that the music of our own being gets muffled. The practices of letting go, of stillness, of non-comparison, are ways of cleaning out the flute, of restoring our essential, creative emptiness. Then, when the breath of life moves through us, it can make a clear, beautiful sound, a sound that is uniquely ours, yet part of the universal symphony. Let's consider the nature of boundaries, not the walls we build to keep the world out, but the clarity we cultivate to know where we end and the world begins. Much of our inner disturbance comes from a porous sense of self, where the emotions of others seep into us as our own, where the world's demands become our commands, and where we lose the quiet center from which to say a compassionate yes, or a peaceful no. True peace requires a kind of spiritual integrity, a knowing of your own terrain so well that you can welcome guests without giving them the deed to your house. Buddhism, often misunderstood as promoting self-effacement, actually fosters a robust, resilient self-knowledge. It's not about making the self larger or more important, but about seeing its true nature clearly. When you see clearly, you know what is yours to carry and what is not. You feel empathy for another's pain without needing to drown in it. You hear a demand without feeling an obligation to fulfill it if it violates your inner truth. This clarity is not coldness. It is the prerequisite for sustainable compassion. You cannot draw water from an empty well. Knowing and tending your own well is the first act of kindness to a thirsty world. This relates directly to a powerful teaching, the middle way. This is not a path of bland compromise, but of radical freedom that avoids the extremes. One extreme is indulgence, chasing every pleasure, identifying with every desire, burning your energy in a frantic search for satisfaction in things outside yourself. The other extreme is asceticism, denying the body, repressing feelings, trying to find peace through sheer willpower and deprivation. The Buddha tried both and found both lacking. The middle way is the path of wise relationship. It is enjoying a meal without being enslaved by gluttony. It is feeling anger without being consumed by hatred. It is having goals without being defined by achievement. It is the balanced, awake presence that meets experience without either clinging or pushing away. Imagine you are learning to sail. If you clutch the tiller in a white-knuckled grip, fighting every wave, you will tire quickly and likely capsize. If you let go of the tiller completely, you are at the mercy of the wind and currents, drifting aimlessly or crashing. But if you hold the tiller with a relaxed, attentive grip, you feel the pressure of the wind in the sails and the resistance of the water against the rudder. You make constant, subtle adjustments. You work with the elements, not against them, and not in surrender to them. This is the middle way. It is an active, intelligent, peaceful engagement with the forces of your life. Your mind is the sailor, awareness is the tiller, and life is the sea. I saw this embodied in a master chef. In his kitchen, there was intensity but never panic. He moved with efficient grace. When a pot boiled over, he didn't curse or flap. He turned down the flame, cleaned the spill, and adjusted the seasoning. When a delivery was late, he adapted the menu. He worked with supreme attention, yet he was completely at ease. He said to me, "Cooking is not about forcing ingredients to obey. It is about listening to them. The tomato tells you its ripeness. The heat tells you its intensity. You are in a conversation. You have intentions, but you must also respond to what is." His kitchen was a lesson in the middle way. Full engagement without frantic control, respectful action within the flow of changing conditions. From this place of balanced engagement, we can address a deep-seated cause of angst, the search for meaning. We often believe that peace will come when we discover the grand, cosmic purpose of our lives. We look for a sign, a calling, a destiny written in the stars. While we search, we feel unsettled, as if we are missing the point. Buddhism gently shifts the question. It suggests that meaning is not found like a treasure buried far away. It is created like a garden, tended in the here and now. The meaning of your life is the quality of attention you bring to it. It is the kindness you offer in a single interaction. It is the integrity with which you perform a simple task. It is the courage to feel a difficult feeling. These are not small things. They are the very atoms of a meaningful existence. When you stop looking for a giant, flashing arrow pointing to your destiny, you begin to see the sacred in the ordinary. Washing a dish becomes an act of mindfulness. Listening to a friend becomes an act of love. Facing a fear becomes an act of courage. Your life, in all its mundane details, becomes the canvas upon which you paint meaning with the brushstrokes of your conscious presence. This is immensely freeing. You are no longer waiting for life to become meaningful. You are making it meaningful, breath by breath. And in that active creation, there is a deep, satisfying peace. This understanding helps us navigate loss, one of life's most profound disturbances. We lose people, we lose youth, we lose health, we lose dreams. The mind's instinct is to contract, to cling to the memory of what was, to reject the barren landscape of what is. Grief is the natural, loving response to loss. But suffering is what we add when we argue with the reality of the loss itself. They shouldn't have died. This shouldn't be happening. The practice is to make a vast space for grief, to let it flow through you like a long, mournful tide, without building a dam of resistance to hold it in forever. You honor the love by feeling the depth of the loss, completely. And in that complete feeling, over time, a strange alchemy can occur. The love remains, untouchable by death or change. The loss becomes integrated into the fabric of who you are, a thread in your tapestry that adds depth and contrast, not just a whole. I once visited a forest that had burned in a wildfire years before. At first glance, it was a landscape of charcoal and skeletal trees. But as I walked, I saw bright green ferns unfurling from the black soil. Wildflowers bloomed in sunlit clearings that the dense canopy had previously kept dark. Woodpeckers hammered on the dead trees, creating homes for new creatures. The forest was not the same. It never would be. But it was not dead. It was transformed. It held the memory of the fire in its scars, and from that very devastation, it was creating a new, resilient, and different kind of beauty. Our hearts are like that forest. After a loss, we feel scorched and barren. But if we do not pave over the pain, if we allow the seasons of grief and memory to move through us, life, in a form we could never have imagined, will stubbornly, tenderly, begin to grow again. Peace is not the absence of the scar. It is the willingness to let new life grow around and through it. All of this circling back, again and again, to the foundational skill, the return to presence. The mind is a wanderer. Its nature is to wander. The practice is not to chain it down, but to develop the kindness and consistency of a loving parent who, each time the child wanders off, gently takes their hand and leads them back home. Here we are. This is home. This breath. This moment. Each return is an act of love for your own consciousness. It is a reaffirmation: I choose presence over phantom. I choose reality over story. And with each choice, the pathway home becomes more worn, more familiar, until one day, you realize you've been living there all along. The wandering still happens, but you are never truly lost. You always know the way back. And that knowing is the essence of unshakable peace. We arrive now at the quiet culmination of our journey, not as an end, but as a homecoming to the beginning. All the teachings, the stories, the metaphors, they point not to a distant state to achieve, but to a simple truth to recognize in the fabric of your immediate experience. The peace you seek is not a future event. It is the aware presence reading these words, listening to this voice, feeling the rise and fall of your own breath. It has never been absent. It has only been overlooked, like the sky forgotten in favor of the clouds. Our work has been one of gentle remembering, of cleaning the lens of attention so the ever-present light can shine through, unobstructed. Let's integrate this through the lens of the most ordinary moment. Consider the act of drinking a glass of water. Typically, you might do this while thinking about the past, planning the future, or looking at a screen. The taste of the water, the coolness in your throat, the feeling of your hand on the glass, all are missed. They happen in a blur. Now, imagine doing it with full attention. Feeling the weight of the glass. Hearing the sound of the pour. Seeing the light refract through the water. Tasting its clean, simple essence. Feeling the swallow, the sensation of it moving down. In that 30 seconds of pure attention, where is the disturbance? There is only the vivid, peaceful reality of drinking. This is not a special state reserved for monks. It is your birthright in any moment you choose to claim it. This is the practice. To consecrate the ordinary by meeting it with your whole being. Buddhism ultimately teaches a path of ending the dukkha, the suffering, the stress, the unsatisfactoriness, that comes from misunderstanding reality. It ends when we see clearly. When we see that we are not a fragile self in a hostile world, but awareness itself, intimate with all of life. When we see that clinging to the changing is the source of pain. When we see that this present awareness is already whole and free. This seeing is not an intellectual conclusion. It is a felt, lived knowing. It is like finally understanding a joke you've heard 100 times. The facts didn't change, but your perception shifts, and with it, your entire experience. The burden you didn't even know you were carrying simply falls away. This brings us to a final, personal story. For many years, I kept a small, smooth stone in my pocket. It was a worry stone, something to fiddle with during anxious moments. One day, I lost it. I felt a surprising pang of distress. I retraced my steps, searched my bags, but it was gone. That night, feeling its absence, I sat quietly. I noticed the urge to worry, the habit of seeking something to hold on to. And then I noticed my hands resting in my lap. I felt the air on my skin. I felt my breath. I realized I had been carrying a stone to soothe myself, while ignoring the profound, ever-present solace of my own alive, aware body and the peaceful space of consciousness that held it. The lost stone became my greatest teacher. It showed me that the true touchstone of peace was not an object, but my own attentive presence. I had been looking for a rock to hold, while standing on a mountain. This is the invitation of Monk's Temple. To discover that the temple is not a building you visit. It is the aware, silent space within you that can hold every joy and sorrow with equanimity. It is the consciousness that hears these words. You are the temple. The stillness you seek is the very ground of your being. So what now? The words fade. The guidance ends. But the practice is just beginning, or rather, continuing, as it always has, in the silent conversation between you and this moment. You will forget. You will get lost in thought, in worry, in old stories. This is not failure. This is the human condition. The path is in the gentle return. Each time you notice you've been swept away by a storm of thinking, you have a sacred opportunity. In that moment of noticing, awareness has already woken up. From that place, you can gently guide your attention back. To the breath. To the sensations in your feet. To the sounds around you. This is the heartbeat of the practice. It is infinitely patient, infinitely kind. There is no need for grand gestures or dramatic change. Start small. For 1 minute today, just sit and feel your breath. When you drink your next cup of tea, just drink the tea. When a difficult emotion arises, try saying to it, hello. I feel you. You are here, and breathe. These are not small things. They are revolutions in consciousness. They are how you dismantle the prison of automatic thinking, brick by brick, and step into the open sky of freedom. The world will continue to be unpredictable. People will still act from their confusion. Your body will age. Loss will touch your life. These are the conditions of existence. But you now have a refuge that cannot be shaken, because it is not a place, but a way of seeing. It is the understanding that you are the sky, not the weather. You are the screen, not the movie. You are the awareness, not the thought. From this understanding, you can meet all of life, the bliss and the brokenness, with a heart that is open, resilient, and fundamentally at peace. Thank you for sharing this time, for walking this path of words and silence with me. This has been Monk's Temple. Not a destination, but a reminder of the sanctuary you carry within. Go in peace. Live in awareness. And remember, whenever you feel disturbed, the path home is always the same, a single breath, taken consciously, right here, right now. Nothing more is needed. Nothing less will do. The practice is simple, though not always easy. When you find yourself lost in the past or future, gently bring your attention back. Feel your breath. Feel the contact of your body with the chair. Listen to the ambient sounds. Don't judge yourself for wandering. The noticing itself is a moment of awakening, a moment of peace. Each return is a victory. Think of it as walking a dog on a long leash. The dog, your mind, runs ahead to chase a squirrel, a worry about the future. Or lags behind to sniff a bush, a memory from the past. Your job is not to yell at the dog or yank the leash violently. Your job is to simply stop, stand firm, and gently, patiently, reel the leash back in until the dog is walking peacefully by your side again, here on the path, in the present moment. You are the walker. You provide the steady, patient presence. The mind will wander 1,000 times. Your practice is to bring it back 1,001 times, with kindness. Let's continue our journey inward. There is a quiet power in understanding that much of what we seek to control lies far beyond the borders of our true domain. We often live like emperors of a tiny, anxious kingdom, issuing decrees to the wind and the rain, demanding that other people act as loyal subjects, and feeling constantly betrayed when the world refuses to obey. This is a life of quiet desperation, of endless friction. Buddhism draws a clear, liberating circle in the sand. Inside that circle is your true realm, your intentions, your attention, your actions, your responses. Outside that circle is everything else, other people's thoughts and actions, the past, the future, chance events, the weather of the world. Peace is found when you devote your energy to ruling your inner kingdom with wisdom and compassion, and cease declaring war on the vast, uncontrollable world outside your gates. I spent a season living near a great, old bell at a temple. It was rung at dawn and dusk. At first, the sound felt intrusive, shaking me from my sleep or my thoughts. I would tense with each strike. I tried to ignore it, to resent it, to wish it away. Then one day, instead of fighting the sound, I decided to listen to it completely. I felt the deep, resonant gong vibrate not just in my ears, but in my chest. I noticed the way the sound hung in the air and slowly dissolved into silence, only to be born again with the next strike. I stopped being someone bothered by the bell and became someone listening to the bell. The sound didn't change. My relationship to it did. I moved from the exhausting position of resistance to the peaceful posture of receptivity. This is the shift from control to allowing. The bell, like so much in life, was not under my control. But my attention was. I could choose to hear it as an enemy or as a teacher of impermanence, a marker of the sacred rhythm of the day. When I chose the latter, the conflict ended. This principle applies profoundly to our relationships. We often enter relationships with a hidden blueprint in our minds, a blueprint for how the other person should act, what they should provide, how they should make us feel. When they inevitably deviate from our blueprint, we feel distress. We try to coax, persuade, demand, or manipulate them back into the lines we've drawn. This is the attempt to control another's inner weather. It is futile and painful for everyone involved. True connection and peace arise when we exchange the blueprint for a blank canvas. We meet the other person as they are, in this moment, not as an actor in our personal play. We listen to understand their reality, not just to prepare our defense or next request. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or neglecting our own needs. It means our primary relationship is with the real person in front of us, not with our fantasy of who they should be. We tend our own garden, our reactions, our communication, our boundaries, and we allow them the profound dignity of tending theirs. Love, in this light, is not a contract where the other person must fulfill your needs. It is a spacious field where two separate gardens can grow side by side, each with its own beauty and weeds, interconnected yet distinct. I recall a master woodworker who taught me about joinery. He showed me two pieces of wood he was joining to make a chair leg. He didn't force them together with nails or screws. Instead, he carefully carved a tenon on one piece, a protruding tongue, and a mortise on the other, a perfectly sized slot. He applied glue and then gently tapped them together. The fit was so precise, so snug, that the bond was incredibly strong, yet it allowed for the natural expansion and contraction of the wood with changes in humidity. A forced bond, he said, will split the wood when it moves. A good joint respects the wood's nature. It holds firmly but allows for movement. Our attempts to control others are like using nails. They create a rigid, fragile bond that splits under the natural pressure of life. True relationship is like skilled joinery. It creates connection through understanding and respect for the other's inherent nature, allowing for movement and growth, resulting in a bond that is both strong and flexible, capable of lasting a lifetime. From this place of releasing control, we can look at a deeper layer. The stories we tell ourselves. The mind is not just a thinker, it is a prolific author. It takes a neutral event and spins it into an epic saga of meaning, usually starring you as the hero, the victim, or the villain. Someone doesn't reply to your text. The event is silence. The story might be, they're ignoring me. They don't respect me. I must have done something wrong. No one ever values me. From this story, emotions blossom: hurt, anger, insecurity. You are now living inside a novel of your own creation, suffering from fictional events. The Buddha taught that this proliferation of mental commentary, this papanka, is a primary source of our entanglement. The practice is to learn to see the bare event, separate from the story. It's like learning to see the lightning before you hear the thunder. The lightning is the fact, the text was not answered. The thunder is the rumbling, echoing story that follows. With awareness, you can see the flash of the fact and then simply wait in the quiet, without inviting the narrative storm. You can say, a text was not answered. That's all I know right now. This creates immense space. Maybe they're busy. Maybe their phone died. Maybe they are struggling. Maybe they are thoughtless. You don't know. And in that, not knowing, you can choose peace over a painful fantasy. You can decide to act from clarity later if needed, instead of reacting from a story now. I learned this while walking an old footpath that was poorly marked. I came to a fork. No sign. My mind immediately launched into stories. If you go left, you'll get lost in the woods. If you go right, you'll miss the beautiful view the book mentioned. You always make the wrong choice. Anxiety tightened my chest. Then I stopped. I sat on a rock. I saw the fork in the path. That was the fact. The stories were just ghosts. I felt the sun on my face. I listened to the birds. I noticed my breath. From that calm place, I made a simple choice: I'd go right for 20 minutes and see what I found. There was no wrong choice, only different experiences. The anxiety vanished because I stopped believing the scary story and returned to the direct experience of the moment. The path itself was just a path. My peace was determined not by the fork, but by my relationship to the stories about the fork. This ability to disentangle from our stories is closely linked to a quality the Buddha praised above almost all others: compassion. But compassion, as understood in this wisdom tradition, is not sentimental pity or a frantic need to fix. It begins with a clear, unflinching recognition: there is suffering here. It is the heart's natural response to that truth. And the first field where this compassion must be applied is your own being. We are often terribly cruel to ourselves. We speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. A mistake becomes proof of our incompetence. A flaw becomes a life sentence. This inner critic is a brutal storyteller. Buddhist practice invites us to meet this critic not with more conflict, but with compassionate awareness. When you hear that harsh inner voice, you can pause and say, "Ah, there is the voice of self-judgment. It is here because it's afraid, because it was conditioned long ago to believe this harshness is necessary for safety." You don't have to believe the voice. You don't have to fight it. You can simply acknowledge its presence with a kind of weary tenderness, as you would acknowledge a frightened child shouting angry things. This gentle acknowledgement is an act of self-compassion. It disempowers the critic. It creates a space of mercy within you. And from that space of inner mercy, compassion for others flows naturally and effortlessly. You begin to see that their harshness, their confusion, their unskillful actions, are also coming from a place of inner suffering, from their own cruel inner critic or their own tangled stories. Your reaction softens from retaliation to understanding. This is how inner peace becomes the foundation for outer peace. Imagine you have two pots. One is made of fine, thin porcelain. The other is made of thick, rugged clay. If you strike the porcelain pot, it rings with a high, sharp, fragile tone, and it might crack. If you strike the clay pot, it gives a deep, dull, solid thud. It is unharmed. Our untrained mind is like the porcelain pot, reactive, fragile, easily chipped by the strikes of life. Through the practices of acceptance, non-attachment, present moment awareness, and self-compassion, we fire our awareness in the kiln of experience. We become more like the clay pot, resilient, grounded, able to receive the strikes of difficulty without shattering. The sound we make in the world changes from a fragile ring of reaction to a deep, steady tone of response. We are not trying to become numb or unfeeling. A clay pot can still hold water, it can still resonate. It is simply stronger, less brittle. It can hold the hot and the cold, the sweet water and the bitter, without breaking. This is the peace we cultivate. A resilient, container-like peace that can hold the full, flowing experience of a human life. Let's explore a territory that often feels most tangled, our relationship with other people. It is here, in the mirror of another's eyes, in the echo of their words, that our peace is most frequently tested and seemingly shattered. We believe our well-being is held in the hands of others, in their approval, their love, their behavior. When they act in ways we dislike, we feel our peace has been stolen from us. Buddhism offers a radical reframe: no one can give you peace, and no one can take it away. Your peace is not held in their hands. It is a light you carry within, and others can only seem to dim it if you hand them the switch. The work is to reclaim the switch, to learn that your inner light is self-sustaining. This begins with a fundamental discernment: the difference between being affected by and being defined by. It is natural, human, to be affected by others. A kind word warms the heart. A harsh word stings. This is the sensitive, responsive nature of a feeling being. But suffering begins when we allow that effect to define our entire inner state, when we take the sting and build a fortress of story around it. This person doesn't respect me, therefore I am unworthy. We move from a sensation to an identity. We hand over the switch. The practice is to feel the sting fully, without building the fortress. To let the harsh word be a sound wave that passes through the body, creating a vibration of pain, and then to watch that vibration subside. It requires creating a small, sacred space between the provocation and your identity. In that space, you can ask, "This hurts. But is this pain telling me a truth about them, or about a story I'm telling about myself?" Often, the sharpest pains hook into old, hidden beliefs we carry about our own inadequacy. The other person merely pressed the bruise. I remember a teacher who had a beautiful, simple practice. On his wall, he had a small, empty hook. He told me, when someone says something critical or unkind, I imagine their words are a coat they are trying to hang on me. I see the coat coming. I feel its weight. But I look at the hook on my wall, and I say, there is no room on my hook today. I let the coat fall to the floor. It exists. It may even be a fine coat. But it is not mine to wear. He wasn't in denial. He acknowledged the coat, the words, the intention. But he refused to hang it on the hook of his identity and walk around weighed down by it. Your inner peace is protected by knowing which coats are yours to wear, your own actions, your own values, and which belong to someone else's wardrobe of pain and opinion. This is deeply connected to the Buddhist concept of right speech and right action, but also to right listening. We think of communication as what we put out into the world. But half of it is how we take the world in. Right listening is the art of hearing words without immediately filtering them through your own defenses, desires, and projections. It is listening to understand the other's reality, not just to confirm your own. When you listen this way, even to criticism, something shifts. You may hear the pain or fear behind the attack. You may simply hear a difference of opinion. In either case, because you are not immediately personalizing it, you can respond from choice, not from automatic defense. The conversation ceases to be a battlefield and can become a bridge, or at the very least, a clear demarcation line drawn with calmness, not hostility. From this place of non-reactive clarity, we can address one of the heaviest burdens, worry. Worry is the mind's attempt to control the future by thinking about it obsessively. It is a form of magical thinking, as if by rehearsing disaster in our minds, we can prevent it or prepare for it. But worry does not prepare us, it paralyzes us. It drains the energy we need for present moment action and stains the now with the imagined shadows of tomorrow. Buddhism invites us to see worry for what it is, a thought habit, a mental weather pattern. When you notice yourself worrying, you can gently ask, is this thinking useful? Is it leading to a concrete, actionable step I can take right now? If yes, then take that step and let the worry go, its job is done. If no, then acknowledge, this is worry. It is here. Feel the tight, anxious energy in your body. Breathe into that space. Bring your attention fully into the physical sensation of the present moment, your feet on the floor, the light in the room, the sound of your breath. You are pulling your mind out of the phantom future and planting it firmly in the solid ground of the real, the now. The future will be met when it becomes the present, and you will meet it with the resources of a mind that is not already exhausted from the journey. There is an old story of a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbor said, "Such bad luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild horses with it. The neighbor said, "Such good luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." The farmer's son tried to tame one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The neighbor said, "Such bad luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next week, army officials came to conscript young men for a war, but they passed over the son with the broken leg. The neighbor said, "Such good luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." This is the wisdom of non-worry. It is the deep understanding that we cannot label any event as ultimately good or bad from our limited, fearful perspective. Life is a tapestry being woven. Worry is our frantic attempt to judge a single thread while the loom is still in motion. Peace comes from releasing the need to judge and control the unfolding pattern, and instead tending to the quality of our own thread, our intention, our presence, as we contribute to the weave. This release of control extends to a profound and challenging area, the desire for life to be fair. We cling to a notion of cosmic justice, where good deeds are rewarded and bad deeds are punished in a timeline and manner we can understand. When life violates this notion, when kindness is met with cruelty, when honesty leads to loss, we feel a deep, spiritual disturbance. We think, the universe is broken, or I am being punished. Buddhism offers a cooler, clearer lens, the law of karma. Karma is not a system of reward and punishment administered by a cosmic judge. It is the simple, impersonal law of cause and effect. If you plant a seed of anger, you create conditions for anger to grow in your mind and in your environment. If you plant a seed of generosity, you create conditions for generosity to flourish. But the garden is vast and interconnected. The seed you planted may be affected by other people's seeds, by the weather of chance, by the soil of circumstances. Your generous act may not be reciprocated by the person you helped. Its effect may ripple out in unseen ways. The point is not to perform good acts as a transaction for a guaranteed good result. The point is to tend your own garden with wisdom, because the quality of your mind, the soil of your consciousness, is the one thing you truly shape. A mind cultivated in generosity and peace is its own reward. It is a pleasant abiding here and now, regardless of the apparent fairness of external outcomes. When you root your sense of justice in the integrity of your own actions, rather than in the chaotic outcomes of the world, you find a peace that no external injustice can destroy. I recall watching a great tree in a storm. Its smaller branches whipped wildly in the wind, some snapping off. The medium branches swayed and groaned. But the deep, central trunk barely moved. It was rooted so deeply that the surface frenzy could not uproot it. Our reactive emotions, our worries, our sense of injustice are like the small branches. Our core values and principles are like the medium branches, they may sway under pressure. But our silent, anchored awareness is the trunk. The storm of life will blow. The practice is not to stop the storm or to become a rigid, unbending branch that snaps. The practice is to sink your roots into the present moment, into the breath, into the felt sense of, I am aware, until you become like that trunk, grounded, unmoved at your core, while allowing the natural movement of life to happen around you and through you. Let's turn our attention to a quiet power that is often misunderstood, the power of doing nothing. In a world that worships activity, productivity, and constant motion, the idea of deliberate stillness can feel like a rebellion, or worse, a failure. We think peace will come when we finish our tasks, when we achieve our goals, when we solve our problems. But Buddhism points to a profound paradox. Sometimes, the most powerful action is conscious inaction. The most creative step is to stop. Peace is not the prize at the end of the race, it is the ground on which the race is run. And you can only feel that ground when you stop running. This is the essence of meditation, but it's far more than a seated practice. It is a quality of being you can bring into any moment. It is the intentional pause between stimulus and response. It is the space where you stop adding fuel to the fires of your own thoughts. In that space, clarity is born. In that stillness, wisdom speaks in a whisper that is usually drowned out by the noise of doing.